Others use sulfur, saltpeter, and lead for alchemy. But I use ginseng, lingi, and foti. My peers mock me, saying I'm a low-level fraud. But what they don't know is, I'm doing all this to save Emperor Yingzheng. Most traditional recipes call for, since I traveled from modern times. Of course I know eating that stuff is deadly. So I made a few changes, and a plan to give him Liu Wei Diwang pills. But while I was glad this stuff shouldn't kill anyone, I missed something important. It was my first time making alchemy pills, and I had no idea how to control the fire. Without proper burning, the food just becomes charcoal. Add a little sulfur again, and you get black powder. By the time I realized what was happening, it was too late. That blast just now will draw a crowd for sure. If someone could help cover for me, maybe I could fool them. Too bad. Alchemists love stepping on others to get ahead. Seeing my mistake, the local alchemists all want to ruin me. Lulai stood at the doorway watching my sorry state. He's thinking why Aguzi is always so clumsy. Can't do anything alone. Must be a phony. A young eunuch rushed over, took one look, and ran off to report to Yingzheng. Lulai was sure I was dead this time, but he didn't expect.
His words just gave me an idea.
According to the history books, gunpowder was first discovered during alchemy by accident. And just now he couldn't explain why the furnace blew up. He was all vague about it. So there's only one answer. I'm the guy who discovered black powder. I grinned slyly and walked toward the furnace. He noticed something was off and tried to run, but I punched him right in the jaw. How dare you ruin my miracle pill? I can never forgive you. Then I looked at the crowd of nosy alchemists. And you people too. If my godly pill failed today, don't think any of you will have it easy. Everyone was shocked by my crazy attitude right then. That young eunuch returned with 2 guards, storming in with a fierce aura. The emperor has orders. Tie them all up and take them away. The guards pounced on us like wolves, tying me tight. I was still fighting back, pointing at the furnace on the ground. Why not tie them up too? They're the ones who ruined my miracle pill. The eunuch didn't care and waved impatiently. Just tie them all up. In the angry, desperate shouting of the others, we were roped together like a chain. I walked up front as we got taken away, head held high, chest out, like I'm not going on trial, but going to get a reward. They took me to an empty side hall. The moment I stepped in, I felt an invisible pressure making my knees weak. I dropped to my knees. A middle-aged man was standing in the yard, just wearing daily clothes, which instantly told me he was the first emperor who just unified the country. Yingzheng ignored us, just stared at a closed room. After a while, an old royal doctor with all white hair came out. His name was Hua Ku. He bowed to Yingzheng. Great King, Prince Fuju's back ulcer is critical. It could burst any time. If it does, no one can save him. Yingzheng staggered slightly and waved him away. Kneeling there, my mind was racing. Back ulcer just means infection, right? This is my chance. Yingzheng looked at me with a cold glare. Who's Waiaguzi? I am, Your Majesty. You've been here 10 days, and not even finished one pill. Destroyed the pill room. I hear you don't have any real skills. Lulai behind me latched onto that like a lifeline. Your Majesty, that's right. He's totally unqualified. Miracle pills are magical, not something just anyone can make. The others all joined in, desperate to distance themselves from me. Right away, I got it. Their so-called searching for hidden masters was just using Yingzheng's money to travel for fun. But I said I could make pills. And that cut off their easy cash flow. Of course they want me gone. Yingzheng looks at me. And I say just one thing. The other alchemists searched for masters for decades with nothing. And Your Majesty never blamed them. So why judge me for not making a pill in a few days? Yingzheng paused. I perked up and kept talking nonsense. I've been making pills for 10 days. Failed and tried again and again. Today I almost had the secret down. But Lulai and the others kept distracting me, talking trash and messing with my focus. So I made a mistake at the last step and set off a blast from the furnace. That's why the pill room exploded. If Your Majesty doesn't believe me, you can send someone to check. That wasn't an ordinary fire. It was spiritual energy. My god pill got ruined by them. I was crying and beating my chest, making a huge scene. Opportunities like this, all the right conditions. I might have to wait 10 years for another chance. The alchemists behind me were boiling with rage. Ying Zhang gave a look to his eunuch, who ran out quickly. 15 minutes later, he came back with a serious-looking official. It was Judge Cao Yuan. Cao Yuan bowed, reporting, "Your Majesty, I've checked. The furnace is shattered. It's not something humans could have done by force." The blood splattered out from the inside. As for what made it explode, I have no idea. When Lu Lai heard that, his face went pale. He screamed, "That's not possible. You said you had a chance encounter. Then where's your master?" "A few months ago, I dreamed of a wise sage who told me to come to Xianyang and help your majesty. Unite the beasts and strengthen the state." I stood tall, spouting a lie so big, even I almost laughed. Ying Zhang's eyes were like two icy blades. "How do you prove it?" I realized just bluffing wouldn't fool this emperor. He's not after excuses. He wants results. Before I run out of luck, I looked up suddenly and played my last card. "Your Majesty, the sores are said to be incurable. But if I can heal Prince Fusu, doesn't that prove my special skills?" Ying Zhang's eyes narrowed sharply. His whole vibe changed. Step by step, he walked up to me.
He said word by word? Are you serious?
"A ruler never lies." "Yes." Ying Zhang's eyes lit up with fierce energy. "If you heal Fusu, I'll make you imperial counselor. But if you cheat me," he paused a second, voice cold as ice, "I'll punish you by law." I shivered a bit, but still stuck my neck out and pointed to Lu Lai. "Your Majesty, if I heal the prince, what about this guy who accused me?" Ying Zhang said coldly, "False accusers will be punished instead. He took the punishment for you." Lu Lai's legs went weak. He collapsed to the ground. I gave him a warm smile. Then I bowed to Ying Zhang, asking to treat the prince. Ying Zhang nodded. I pushed the door open and walked in. I completely ignored the weeping Lady Yu inside and walked straight to the bed with the maids. Lying on the bed was a boy about 10 years old. His face was pale from pain. When he saw me, he still managed a weak smile. "What's your name?" I squatted down. "Ying Fusu." I carefully checked his wound. I had an idea of the situation. I walked out of the room and bowed to the anxious Ying Zhang outside. "Don't worry, Your Majesty. I can cure the prince, but I'll need to prepare a few things. Please assign a few men to follow my instructions." Ying Zhang pointed to Ji Ming, the eunuch next to him. "Pick 2 more to follow Huai Guzi closely." He called it taking orders, but really it's to keep watch. I didn't care at all. With Ji Ming, Zhao Yi, and Wu Jiao trailing me, I swaggered out of the palace. Once outside, I kept it short. Ji Ming was startled. "Lord Huai, where are we going? Are you going somewhere for drinks?" I didn't even look back. At the palace gate, I bumped into a tough-looking man, Great General Li Shin. He was a close friend of this body's original owner, and the one who recommended me to the palace, Brother Huai. Li Shin grabbed me. "I heard there was trouble in the single room. Are you okay?" I patted his shoulder. "I'm fine." "Don't worry, Li." After I left, Ji Ming hurried over and told Li Xing everything that happened. When Li Xing heard, his face changed. He didn't care about me anymore. He turned and rushed into the palace. I didn't have time for this. My mind was full of the steps to make strong liquor. I ran straight to the biggest tavern in Xianyang and shouted at the owner, "Bring out your strongest liquor, the kind that can knock out a master drinker." The owner pointed at some jars and bragged about how fresh they were.
He added, "Lord Lu."
Lord Hu and those alchemists all love this. The moment I heard alchemist, I got mad. I slammed the counter with a booming voice. "Remember this. Huai Guzi and all alchemists are enemies. If any of them come for wine, just tell them what I said." I had Ji Ming pay and walked out carrying 3 jars of wine. The owner was so scared he was pale. He caught up to us and swapped our wine for his best aged liquor hidden in the back. He was afraid of getting palace trouble. Back at the alchemy room, I started distilling wine right away, using the different boiling points of alcohol and water. I distilled and purified it over and over. Soon, the strong aroma filled the whole yard. Ji Ming looked at the clear liquid in the pot and asked curiously, "Lord Huai, what's this?" I smiled mysteriously. This is the essence of wine, called ethanol. Meanwhile, in Yingzhang's study, Li Shen was kneeling and begging. Young General Wang Li, standing nearby, mocked Li Shen for misjudging people. Just as Yingzhang was getting annoyed, ready to order my punishment, summoned Ji Ming burst in reeking of alcohol. I told you to keep an eye on him. And you go drinking? Yingzhang was furious. Ji Ming dropped to his knees, terrified. I wouldn't dare. Yes, Lord Wai is making wine. He said he produced alcohol from the wine. He means a spirit in the wine. Outrageous. Yingzhang was raging mad. He grabbed some bamboo slips to throw at him. Are you messing with me, guards? Deal with that fraud right now. Right now. Just at that critical moment, Li Shen slammed his head to the ground. He cried out, if the treatment fails, I'm willing to take the punishment with him. Wang Li sneered nearby. Li Shen, furious, punched him right away. The two generals started arguing in front of the king. Get out, all of you. Yingzhang roared. That's how I survived again. That same night, I sharpened my scalpel. Using my homemade ethanol and boiled white cloth, I got ready to disinfect and bandage. I even made Ji Ming and the 3 eunuchs wipe themselves down with ethanol from head to toe. Everything was set. Let's treat the illness. I told the 3 trembling eunuchs. It was a dark and windy night. I held my medicine box with that shiny scalpel in my hand. Behind me, 3 eunuchs followed, looking like they're up to no good. I reached Fuju's bedchamber again. I sent everyone out, including Fuju's birth mother and the beauty queen. Then I lit up my homemade alcohol lamps, several lamps surrounding him, casting a bright, shadowless light in the room. Don't be scared. I wiped Fuju's back with an alcohol swab and kept the mood light, chatting with him to distract him. Your mother loves you a lot. Be good to her from now on. Fusu relaxed, just as he totally let his guard down. A cold glint flashed in my eyes. I brought the blade down fast. Holding the sterilized scalpel, I gently cut open the infected skin. Fusu didn't expect it and screamed in pain. Outside, Lady Yu was eavesdropping and fainted at his cry. Her eyes rolled back, and she passed out cold. The air in the room almost froze, except for Lady Yu, who had fainted on the ground. Only the 3 young eunuchs were left. Their teeth chattered loudly. I ignored them and shouted, Don't panic. Come here and hold the prince down. Zhao Yi and Wu Zhao were shaking like leaves, but still nervously went over and pressed down on the screaming Fusu. I efficiently cut away the dead flesh with the scalpel. The pus in the wound drained out smoothly. I cleaned up fast, muttering without looking up, Oh dear. Sorry, prince. Forgot the anesthetic. Hang in there. Fusu had no idea what I was saying. He just knew it hurt. It hurt like hell. I sighed, but kept working, grumbling, Why are you crying? You're just a kid. It's just a flesh wound. Once it's cleaned up, a few days of disinfecting and you'll be fine. As soon as I finished, I'd already cleaned out the pus. I spread the purified ethanol on the wound. Fuju's scream was 10 times louder than before. It was like his voice shook the whole palace. Right at that moment, Consort Yu, who'd just been revived with a finger pinch, suddenly went wild and lunged at the door. She started banging on it hard. I didn't even lift my eyelids. I just coldly ordered Ji Ming, who was guarding the door, seal the door for me. If anyone lets a random person in to hurt the young master, everyone here will be exiled by the rules. Far off, Ji Ming's face looked even worse than crying, like he'd just been caught in a fire. He held the door tight.
He must have cursed me 1,000 times in his heart by now.
While chaos broke out outside, the elder Lulai arrived. He'd been sleeping deeply. Zhao Yi had just woken him up. He came over, still totally groggy. He saw the mess at the door, and looking confused, asked the maid what was going on. The maid quickly explained how I went in with a knife, drove out Consort Yu, and closed the door to start treatment. As soon as Lulai heard that, his eyes lit up instantly. So why Guzi thinks things aren't complicated enough, and just goes looking for trouble. His eyes darted around, and he leaned close to Consort Yu.
He lowered his voice. Madam.
Go report to the king, quickly. Only the king can save the young master. Consort Yu suddenly woke up to reality. Right, there's no way she can break in herself. No way she could break down the door. Without even thanking him. She lifted her skirt and sprinted straight to Ying Zhang's palace. Meanwhile, inside Ying Zhang's palace, the eunuch on night duty didn't dare wake up the already sleeping king. But desperate as Consort Yu was, she didn't care at all. She stood outside shouting and crying for the king. Fuzhu's suffering because of that Wyoguzi. All of a sudden, Ying Zhang sat up in bed, startled. He threw on a robe and rushed out. Shocked and angry, "Did you say Wyoguzi is trying to harm Fusu?" Consort Yu knelt on the ground, crying and sobbing her heart out, describing how tough I acted, and how miserably Fusu was screaming. Ying Zhang was so mad his teeth ground together loudly. What a gutsy move. Before he'd even finished speaking, he was already striding away, rushing toward Fuzhu's quarters. And just as Ying Zhang arrived, Jiming opened the door. Little eunuch Wu Jiao was walking out carrying a basin of gold liquid, and ran straight into an enraged Ying Zhang. Bang! Ying Zhang kicked Wu Jiao in the stomach. Wu Jiao let out a shriek and hit the ground. The entire golden liquid spilled out, drenching Lu Lai, who was watching the commotion. Lu Lai was soaked straight through. He wiped the gold liquid from his face, but deep down he was delighted. That's it, it's over. Wyoguzi, you're completely done for. Ying Zhang was about to rush inside, but I blocked him like a wall. Your Majesty, the surgery was a success. I used a term he couldn't quite understand, but my tone was eerily calm. The young master is fine now? But to prevent infection, please stay back for now, and wait patiently for a day or two. Ying Zhang froze for a moment. He looked at me, then looked behind me. I stepped aside a bit, so he could see Fusu lying motionless on the bed. You see, the sores are all gone. He'll heal up in 3 days, tops. He's just fine. You can check for yourself if you don't believe me. Ying Zhang saw the clean white bandages on Fuzhu's back, and the ugly boils gone. He called Fuzhu's name to test if he'd respond. How do you feel? Fusu didn't answer, and Ying Zhang's face turned suspicious. He shot me a look as sharp as a knife. A bit awkward, I scratched my head and explained, the young master, he's just really tired. After tossing about for so many days, he's finally relaxed. So he fell asleep. He's asleep, really. Or is he not breathing anymore? Lu Lai, still dripping gold liquid, broke the silence with a sarcastic comment. Wyoguzi, are you trying to fool the king? I raised my hand and scolded him sharply. He took several steps back in fear. I pointed at his nose, still angry. How dare you curse the young master? What's your real motive? This scene actually made Ying Zhang think Lu Lai was being an annoying jinx. He now eyed Lu Lai with obvious displeasure. Then Ying Zhang turned and pointed at the trembling Jiming. You tell me, how is Fusu really? Jiming was so scared he could barely stand. Shaking, he stammered, Your Majesty. The young master's really just asleep. Well, maybe unconscious too. He left himself a way out, just in case. Ying Zhang nodded slightly. He set his eyes back on me. 3 days. You're sure he'll heal? I answered without hesitation. Walking, sitting, lying down. He'll be just like before. Good. Ying Zhang stared at me. I'll give you 3 more days. And with that, he left. Consort Yu tried to rush over again, crying out Fuzhu's name. I kept a straight face and told Jiming, escort the family out. Don't disturb the patient. So Consort Yu got sent out again. Outside, Lu Lai saw the teary Consort Yu and leaned closer to whisper, Madam, remember, if anything happens to the young master, don't let Wyoguzi off the hook. Consort Yu bit her lip and nodded hard. Meanwhile, General Li Shen's mansion was all lit up. My guarantor, Li Shen, was kneeling awkwardly on a washboard. His wife, Lady Li, had been scolding him for half the night. Li Shen, you pick some street healer over your own family. Don't you care about us at all? If he fails, you'll die with him. That disease is deadly. It's crazy dangerous. Li Shen stiffened his neck, not admitting he was wrong. Today, Wang Lin made fun of me in front of the king. Said I was useless. Honey, I'm still a top general. Who's Wang Li to talk like that to me? He has the nerve to humiliate me. So you let one insult make you risk your whole family's lives as a guarantee. Lady Li was so mad she stomped her foot. The king won't punish me harshly. Li Shen's voice got much quieter. You're always right, aren't you? Lady Li was beyond angry. She yelled, "Bring my rattan stick." The maids and servants outside all shuddered in fear. Who would have thought the great General Li, hero of the battlefield, would be so scared of his wife at home? The rattan stick was brought over. Lady Li raised it high, but just couldn't bring herself to hit him. She threw the stick hard onto the ground and started crying. How can you be so foolish? Trusting that Wyoguzi guy. Everyone says he lacks real skill. Yet you believe in him. Li Shen grimaced. Honey, you don't know. Brother Y actually knows his stuff. Right then, a servant rushed in, panic-stricken. Mistress, mistress. News from the palace. Lady Li's heart tightened. What is it? The servant, out of breath. Palace says Wyoguzi tortured the young master until he passed out. It's serious. If the prince falls, Wyoguzi is done for.
Hearing this,
Lady Li's world spun. She nearly fainted. Steadying herself, she pointed at the butler Li Jia. Go now, I'm going to. To do what? Lady Li took a deep breath, hissing through her teeth. Prepare for your general's funeral. Li Jia's face fell. Madam, it's the middle of the night. If you won't, I'll go myself. As she spoke, she actually led the men out. The room fell deathly silent. Li Shen cleared his throat and told Li Jia, don't just stand there. Help me up. My legs are totally numb. Li Shen limped to the door, sighed, and said, fine, let her buy it. I'll need it sooner or later anyway. Behind him, the servants tried not to laugh. Of course, she wasn't really planning a funeral. She drove straight to the scholar Chun Yu's estate. He was Li Shen's brother-in-law, but the two couldn't stand each other. They were practically enemies. But to save Li Shen's life, she had to beg this old fogey. She waited in the hall until dawn, without even a drop of water. When she finally saw him, the old man was slowly eating breakfast alone, with no intention of hosting her. Greetings, brother-in-law. Lady Li bowed through gritted teeth. Shan Yu ignored her. Greetings, brother-in-law. She said it again. Still he ignored her. Lady Li snapped. Her voice rose by an octave. Only then did he finish his last bite, wiped his mouth, and with great sorrow, criticized Li Shen from head to toe, called him reckless, said he deserved it, and said he brought it on himself. Lady Li fought the urge to curse. When he finally grew tired of talking, he let out a sigh. Fine, for my sister's sake. I cannot ignore this. I can only save his life. He must retire from the military and live as a wealthy civilian. That will be the end of it. Though she wasn't satisfied. Staying alive was good enough. Lady Li thanked him and fled that suffocating place. Chan Yu dressed for court, muttering to himself, the world lacks discipline. Dawn was breaking. I let out a huge yawn. I'd been up all night. Fortunately, young Fusu had no fever. That meant no infection. I figured by sunrise, he would likely be awake. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw that old man, Lu Lai, still peeking around the courtyard, like a wandering ghost. He hadn't slept, and neither had I. I suddenly said to Ji Ming, I'm actually a kind person. I hate to see things suffer. Ji Ming's lip twitched. He thought I was being sarcastic. I sighed again. Lu Lai is annoying, but punishing him over a bet. I don't have the heart. Maybe I'll give him a chance. Ji Ming's heart skipped a beat. A chance? How? By keeping the prince asleep. To keep everyone happy? This madman might actually do it. While Ji Ming was worrying, Lu Lai was also losing it. Why hasn't he collapsed? Why hasn't Fusu died yet? What if he's cured? As soon as that thought hit him, Lu Lai startled himself, drenched in cold sweat. His eyes were bloodshot. I can't fail. I'm so close to the sacred land. I can't fail now. Just then, I shouted from the room, he's awake!
He's awake. The prince is awake.
Quick, inform the king. What? The prince is hungry. Hurry, get some food. Then Zhao Yi and Wu Jiao dashed out like the wind. One ran to the king's palace, the other to the kitchen. Lu Lai trembled against the wall like a leaf. He woke up and still shouted he was hungry. Looks like he's cured. If he lives, I'm done. Severe punishment means real trouble. No, I can't go down. Lu Lai gritted his teeth. A wicked thought suddenly filled his mind. He actually had some strong poison on him. The poison is colorless and tasteless. Just add it to the soup and harm Fusu. When the king of Qin gets angry, Huai Guzi's life will be over. No one would ever blame him. If Fusu survives, I'm doomed. Lu Lai made up his mind.
He snuck back to his room.
He grabbed the poison, then sneaked into the royal kitchen. While it was chaos inside, he took the powder and tossed it into the pot of soup that Zhao Yi was urging about. Then, acting hungry, he grabbed 2 pieces of meat and slipped away. He hid in a corner, watching closely. Moments later, Zhao Yi carried the soup pot out. She hurried into Fuju's courtyard. Lu Lai didn't dare get closer.
He could only press his ear against the cold wall.
Suddenly, oh my god. He's not breathing. Really not breathing. Ji Ming's terrified scream came from inside. Lu Lai couldn't help but start to smile. Done. Then it's my turn. The soup is poisoned. Then came Zhao Yi's cry. It wasn't me. I didn't poison it. I asked who touched the soup. Zhao Yi answered me in a panic. And the kitchen maid. Right, Master Lu just came in to get food too. Lu Lai heard this from outside and sneered. Huai Yuzi, you're in trouble yet you want to investigate. When the king arrives, let's see how you talk your way out. While he was thinking, suddenly he sensed something's off. Wu Jiao's been gone so long. Why isn't the king here yet? He turned around, scared out of his mind. Wu Jiao was right behind him. She gave him a creepy smile. Master Lu, I didn't go find the king. The young master isn't awake either. Master Huai told me to do this. In the next second, Lu Lai was pushed into the courtyard. Inside, Ji Ming and I stood there totally at ease, with a smashed clay pot on the ground, and next to it a rabbit foaming at the mouth, already lifeless. I looked at the pale Lu Lai, and shook my head in disappointment. Brother Lu, oh brother Lu, the rabbit never had a grudge against you. Why did you have to hurt it? That's just cruel. Damn, I fell for it. That was the only thought left in Lu Lai's mind. His legs gave out, and he slumped to the ground, terrified. He suddenly threw up. I walked over, looked down at him, and spoke kindly. Brother Lu, why do this to yourself? If you'd just asked me for help, for old time's sake, maybe I would have gone easy on you. But you chose to use poison, not only trying to hurt me, but even targeting a child. I shook my head and sighed. As kind as I am, today I have to do the right thing and get rid of the scum. Ji Ming was speechless, thinking, how can someone be so shameless? Ignoring him, I turned to Zhao Yi. Zhao Yi, I'll remember you took Lu Lai's money, but now you get a chance to make it right. Go tie him up for me. Zhao Yi, relieved, bowed with joy, then charged forward. While tying Lu Lai up, she scolded him harshly to show her loyalty. Soon I was hauling the tied-up Lu Lai, with Ji Ming and Wu Jiao, straight to the council hall. On the way I reminded Ji Ming, when the king asks, just say the young master woke up, and Lu Lai poisoned him out of panic. Don't mention my setup, or they'll think I'm too scheming. Ji Ming decided to stay silent. With this madman, let him say whatever he wants. Not long after we left, Fusu on the bed moved a finger, slowly opened his eyes, and whispered water weakly. But Zhao Yin, guarding the door, was worried he'd get dragged down by Lu Lai, so he didn't hear the request for water. Inside the council hall, the meeting was nearly over. Ying Zheng was discussing the imperial title with his ministers. Such a huge matter. Everyone talking over each other. Nobody agreeing. Just as it was ending, the stubborn old man from the Spring Rain Court spoke up. My king, your servant has something to report. He started by demanding you deal with me, the so-called demon, and fire Li Shen for recommending me. Send him home. Li Shen stood in the line, face green with anger. He was cursing me inside, but I'm your relative. You set me up? Meanwhile, Wang Lin was enjoying this. But his father, Wang Ben, stood out to object loudly. King, you made a 3-day agreement with Huai Guzi. The time's not up yet. Can't deal with him now, or you'll break your promise to all. The hall got really weird for a moment. Those close to Li Shen cried to get rid of me and fire Li Shen. Those who disliked Li Shen wanted to protect me and keep Li Shen. Let's talk after 3 days. Shan Yu was retreating to advance, trying to swap out Li Shen for a minor mistake instead of a major crime. Ying Zhang saw through it
He actually liked straightforward Li Xin.
and couldn't bear to punish him. So he sighed and just went with the flow. As Chen Yu suggested, order Li Xin to leave Wai Guzi at Yancheng. Chen Yu-kun was relieved. Wang Ben thought, what a pity. Li Xin handed over his seal, confused. Wang Li smugly ran to Li Xin, calling him Old Li non-stop, annoying Li Xin to death. Right then, a thunderous shout came from outside. Instantly, the whole hall went silent. Urgent report from Fang's residence. Lu Lai tried to poison young Master Fusu. Huai Guzi caught him red-handed. It was me! Ying Zhang shot up from his seat, his eyes wide as bronze bells. Bring them in! I dragged the limp Lu Lai into the hall. With Jiming and Wu Jiao, everyone looked like they'd seen a ghost. Wang Li couldn't help himself. Brother Lu, you really poisoned him? Wang Ben, next to them, was so angry he almost kicked his foolish son. Li Xin instantly brightened up and joked at Wang Li, cousin Wang. Seems your judgment is off, huh? Shouldn't you quit too? Wang Li got even angrier and pointed at me, yelling, my king. He didn't cure the young master. By our agreement, both he and Li Xin should be punished. I was reveling in everyone's shocked stares. After hearing that, I got anxious. I shouted back, who says I didn't cure him? The young master already woke up just now. Otherwise, why would Lu Lai rush to poison him? Ying Zhang's gaze turned sharp in an instant. He turned toward Ji Ming. Fusu is awake. Everyone's attention was fixed on Ji Ming, that little eunuch. Ji Ming took a deep breath. He slowly shook his head. He spoke clearly, word by word, answering the king. The young master isn't fully conscious yet. Then he described how he discovered Lu Lai's poison, how he used the plan against them, how he tested the poison with a rabbit, and how he trapped the culprit. He told it all, right in front of everyone. He explained everything. For a moment, I felt like I was about to explode. I stared hard at Jiming. My eyes were desperate to see right through him. Jiming met my gaze. He scoffed silently, trying to drag me down too. You think I'm as clueless as Lu Lai? I gritted my teeth. I forced out, Jiming deserves credit for protecting the king. You don't. Jiming rolled his eyes and said credit. As long as it's not a crime, whatever. Who cares? Wang Ben stepped up. He smiled and tried to smooth things over. So, is he awake? Or not? Who's lying? Why don't we all go take a look? One look and we'll know. I felt uneasy. If Fusu were a grown-up, he should have woken up by now. But he's still a kid. He's weak. If something goes wrong, Ying Zhang gets mad. I'm dead meat. It'd be best to drag it out another day or two. That would be safest. I was thinking up excuses. Li Xin suddenly shouted, thunderous and angry. Enough! You guys don't believe him. But I do. I've seen his miracles in CHU. I saw them with my own eyes. Wang Li scoffed with contempt. That sound totally set Li Xin off. He pointed at Wang Li's nose. His neck veins bulged. Wang Li, I'd stake my life. I'd swear with you. Do you dare? Wang Li isn't the type to back down. He snapped right away. What's there to fear? If Fusu really wakes up, you can take my head anytime. But if he doesn't, Li, don't think you can dodge blame. Li Xin's eyes blazed. Let's head to the young master's room now. We'll know who's right. With one look, my scalp tingled. Li Xin is too grateful to me, betting his life for me. He's pushing both of us into trouble. I hurriedly coughed. I tried to mediate. If the young master just woke up, maybe he's fallen back asleep. He's just a kid, so it's normal if he's hard to wake. Ying Zhang stared at my face for a few seconds. His look was sharp as a knife. It sent chills down my spine.
He ignored me.
He quietly ordered, summon the clothes keeper. A moment later, that old man called Hua Q walked in. Ying Zhang asked straight, how do you tell? Is he sleeping or unconscious? Hua Q bowed and replied, King, if you poke the philtrum, and he's just sleeping, he'll wake up. If he's barely breathing, then it's hard to say. That's a good method. Wang Li jumped in right away. He couldn't hide the gloating in his eyes. Let's go now. Ying Zhang cared about his son too, so he didn't waste words.
He walked straight to Fuju's room.
A crowd of ministers followed. The more drama, the better. On the way, I felt like a monkey in a zoo. Some looked at me with pity, but most just wanted to see me embarrassed. Chen Yu lagged behind, walking with Jiming and Hua Q. Jiming lowered his voice. Hua Q, great physician. Do you think that kid can do it? Hua Q shook his head and sighed. For that kind of poison to burst out, and for someone to stay safe, it's as hard as climbing to the heavens. Jiming suddenly felt confident inside. He glanced at me in front. He sneered in his heart. I don't believe you can do anything else. Now he actually hopes Fusu never wakes up. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to explain to Ying Zhang. Meanwhile, Lady Li was pacing anxiously in the residence. For a whole day and night, she hadn't had a drop to drink or a bite to eat. The servant Li Jia was running non-stop between the palace and the mansion, like a dog with broken legs. Bad news kept coming one after another. Madam, they say Lord Chunyu is trying to protect the general. But that old man Wang Ben refused. He insists on waiting for the outcome. Madam, things aren't looking good. The general pledged his life together with Wang Li. Lady Lisher is doomed. They've already gone to see the young master. Everything depends on this moment. Life or death. Lady Li nearly collapsed hearing this. Her face as pale as paper. She grabbed Li Jia, her voice trembling. Go check on them. At the palace gates. I have to know if the general is alive or dead. Li Jia had just left when Miss Schemer arrived. This woman had always been at odds with Lady Li. She came today just for the gossip. Pretending to be sympathetic, she tightened Lady Li's hand. I heard about your general swearing an oath with Wang Li. Sai, I just saw General Wang Li leave the palace. And your brother-in-law Chen Yu also left with a dark face. Sister, I'm afraid your general is in real trouble. Her words were like a sharp dagger, stabbing straight into Lady Li's heart. Watching Lady Li so devastated, Miss Schemer felt secretly delighted. But she kept up the fake comfort. Really got her fill this time. Finally satisfied, she got ready to leave. Just then, two young eunuchs shouted shrilly outside the main gate. Anyone from the Li residence? Come carry your general. You've worn us out. Lady Li's vision went black, almost fainting. Two servants rushed out. Moments later, they really carried in an unconscious Li Xin. Lady Li collapsed to the ground with a wail, crying her heart out. Miss Schemer patted her back, pretending to comfort her sister. He's gone. You have to be strong. Eunuch Chu Jiao, who was carrying Li Xin, looked totally confused. The general just got drunk. Why the grief? Lady Li's crying halted instantly. As she looked up, drunk, she glared at Miss Schemer, blurting out, Didn't they say he got in trouble after losing a bet? Wu Jiao hadn't even replied, when another loud voice called outside Wang Li, a servant from the general's mansion, sent by orders to deliver a wealth of gold as an apology. General Wang wanted to thank Li Xin for not holding a grudge. Wang Li is beyond grateful. As soon as these words fell, a group of servants carried in heavy chests, dumping them in the courtyard with loud thuds. Miss Schemer's smile froze completely. Wang Li came to make amends. Even Wang's servants looked humiliated. They hurriedly paid respect and tried to leave, but unexpectedly, the drunken Li Xin mumbled something unclear. Short on the weight at the tea banquet. Not enough gold. The Wang family servants turned red with shame. They had to open the chests and weigh everything on the spot. Each chest was checked, and then they ran away like fleeing for their lives. Lady Li held her husband. Overjoyed, history was made. The young master had woken up. She was answered by Li Xin's thunderous snoring. Wu Jiao nearby excitedly told all the palace gossip, how General Li stood up for them. Lifelong friendship with Huai Guzu. I saved the day. Wang Li knelt and apologized, and the king rewarded them big time. The light slowly returned to Lady Li's eyes. All her worries were swept away. She twisted Li Xin's ear, a mix of love and anger. You really got lucky this time. If you risk your life like this again, just wait till you see what I do to you. But she clearly meant those words for Miss Schemer beside her. Miss Schemer just stood there, feeling like she was being pricked all over. Today she was made into a joke. Then, at that moment, the servant Li Jia finally ran back. He burst through the door, yelling with joy, Madam! Good news! The general won immediately. He's been promoted. Lady Li looked at him, amused. I already knew that. I sent you to wait at the palace gates. Why are you back only now? Li Jia flopped down on the floor, totally out of breath. I ran back the moment I heard the news. But today, I've been running back and forth more than 50 times. I really can't move anymore. Elsewhere, I had already followed the group to Fusu's chamber. Nervously, I peeked inside. Little Yi was squatting in the yard, playing stones with a kid. I was furious. This reckless kid? I told you to watch the patient, but here you are, just playing. I didn't have time to scold him, and rushed straight to the door. Peeking inside, the bed was empty. Fusu was gone. My mind went blank, totally exploded inside. I spun around, grabbed Zhao Li by the collar and yelled, "Where's the young master? Did you lose him? Did Wang Li hide him somewhere?" Wang Li, being named, turned pale. Is someone really framing me like this? Little Yu was scared out of his wits, struggling to speak. "Yo, young master." Right then, the kid playing stones stood up suddenly and knelt to Ying Zhang. Clear voice, "Greetings, father." Ying Zhang was stunned like lightning struck. He ran over, thrilled, and lifted the child up, his voice trembling. "Fusu, are you healed?" That kid, who was Fusu, nodded. "Still hurts a bit, but I'm basically fine now. Just had some kanji. I feel strong again." I was dumbfounded. Awkwardly let go of Xiao Ying
and laughed dryly. Hey.
"Oh, young master was here all along? I didn't recognize you with your clothes on." Well, before he was bare-chested on the bed, like a fish waiting to be slaughtered. Now he's well-dressed and squatting here. Who would have known it was him? But no one cared about my awkwardness anymore. Everyone was looking at me like I was a freak now. A bit of awe, a bit of fear, but mostly scared. It was a terminal disease, supposed to be incurable in a few hours. Yet now he's up and bouncing around. If this isn't a miracle, then what is? Li Shen suddenly burst out laughing. He pointed at Wang Li, shouting like a bell. Wang Li's head. "Give it here." Wang Li turned pale. He looked at his dad Wang Ben for help. Wang Ben's old face turned beet red in an instant. Wishing he could disappear, he could only muster up courage, and bowed to Li Shen, General Li. "My son is naive and ignorant. Please forgive his mistake." Li Shen totally ignored him, just scoffed coldly. "So Wang Li, are you saying you don't keep your word? Trying to survive however you can. That stings more than a straight-up insult." Wang Li was pushed into a corner. He stiffened his neck. He gritted his teeth and said, "Fine, I'll give you my head." Wang Ben was scared out of his mind. He quickly signaled to the other officials. A bunch of ministers rushed out to beg for mercy. Even Ying Zhang was moved to intervene. Ying Zhang wanted to warn the Wang family, but he didn't really plan to do anything drastic. So he helped smooth things over, saying Wang Li is young and reckless. "Li Shen, don't stoop to his level. Let him apologize. And pay a huge sum of money. Let's just call it settled." Li Shen knew when to stop. He nodded. Wang Li still tried to act tough, but Wang Ben kicked him hard behind his knee. He dropped to his knees with a thud. He hung his head low, mumbled from between his teeth, "General Li, I'm young and foolish. Please forgive me." Li Shen burst out laughing. He slapped my shoulder. "Totally pumped, Huai brother. Did you see that? Since my defeat in the CHU campaign, that kid hasn't stopped giving me attitude. But I finally got my revenge today." He looked at Wang Li like he was a beaten dog. "Go home and get the money together. If you're short by even a penny, I'll bring people and tear down your mansion." Wang Li was shaking with rage, almost spat out his last breath. Then Ying Zhang pulled Fusu to leave. I hurried to catch up. "Your Majesty, Prince, that wound isn't fully healed yet. Don't let water touch it. It's best if I change the dressing every day." Ying Zhang thought about it, then said, "All right, Fuju's care is up to you for the next few days." He paused, then pointed at Jiming. "He stays and takes orders from Huawei Guzi." But I shook my head. Right in front of everyone, I pointed at Jiming and said, "No way. He distorts the truth. Always stirs up trouble. Just a petty guy. I suspect he took bribes from Lulai. Or he's trying to cozy up to Wang Li. Always worked against me. I'm afraid he might poison the prince, then frame me for it." Wang Li jumped up right away. "What does that have to do with me?" Jiming looked even paler. He pointed at me, shaking nonstop. You're slandering me. Ying Zhang just glanced coldly at Ji Ming. That look was icy. Ji Ming, you don't need to stay. Come with me. I have some things to ask you. Ji Ming suddenly collapsed. People dragged him away like dead weight. Night fell. A young eunuch led me to Ying Zhang's palace. The big man from earlier was still outside the door.
He was punishing Ji Ming according to palace rules.
Ji Ming's hair was a mess, crying like crazy. I instantly understood. Ying Zhang was doing this for me to see. I sighed and shook my head. Why do you sigh, Huaiguzi? Ying Zhang's voice came from the palace. I was caught off guard and replied, I'm soft-hearted. Can't bear to hear it. Ying Zhang laughed. So you're pleading for him? I laughed awkwardly. Just punish him farther away. As long as I don't hear it, it's fine. Ying Zhang paused. Ji Ming's screams faded away, but I'm sure he's still being punished. I walked into the palace. Ying Zhang got straight to the point. Tell me, what's the immortal realm like? His eyes were shining with curiosity. My mind raced. Started making stuff up. Told him about future technology as if it was magic. In the immortal realm, there's Xinong named Yuan. He grew rice that yields 2,000 pounds per acre. Ying Zhang was shocked. 2,000 pounds per acre. The immortal realm has magic vehicles. No need for oxen or horses. Travel 1,000 miles a day. Ying Zhang was fascinated. If only I had such a magic vehicle. There's another thing in the immortal realm, shaped like a round ball. Throw it, and it shocks everyone nearby. Ying Zhang was lost in the story. I kept going. I learned some basic alchemy in the immortal realm. Just a little. The alcohol I used to treat the prince is one of them. It means the essence of alcohol. Ying Zhang paused. Ji Ming, why did you tell me it's alcohol demon? I instantly put on a super aggrieved face. Your Majesty, someone's jealous of me. On purpose, twisting the facts. Trying to drive a wedge between us. Right at that moment, the burly executioner came in to report to the king. Ji Ming's whipping is finished. Ying Zhang's face turned grim. Whip him again outside. Ji Ming's scream started up again. The conversation continued. The elixir for longevity and health. Can you make it? Ying Zhang finally got to the point. I replied respectfully, that kind of miraculous elixir is too complicated. I don't have enough expertise yet, but I can start with simpler ones, like strengthening the body or prolonging life. With time, the miracle pill will happen. How long? Shortest 3 to 5 years. Longest? Decades. Ying Zhang nodded. Seems like he accepted that. Fine, I can wait. So tell me, what reward do you want? My heart raced, but I coughed dryly, grinned and said, land and a mansion. It's all just material stuff. I boldly asked for one thing. Go ahead, let's hear it. I gathered my courage. A pardon token. Ying Zhang was stunned. I rushed to explain. I'm straightforward. I easily offend people. I'm worried someone will frame me. That would mess up the big job of making pills for the king. Ying Zhang looked at me with a half smile. After a long pause, he finally nodded. I'll have someone make one for you. I almost jumped up with excitement. Quickly thanked him. After thanking, I rubbed my hands. Carefully asked, so do I still get the house and land? Ying Zhang was speechless.
He waved his hand, a bit amused, and said, you get it all.
I'll give you everything. Now you can leave. I thanked him over and left. Felt fantastic. Passing a corner, I saw Ji Ming still being punished. The strong guy doing the beating was about to collapse. When he saw me, it was like he'd been pardoned. Master Huai, any new orders from the king? Still keep hitting? I waved my hand. Looked serious. King didn't say stop, so keep going. Ji Ming's screams got even louder. I shook my head, covered my ears and walked away quickly, mumbling that's too cruel. I can't bear to listen. Dragging my tired body, didn't make it back to Yingxian Hall till dawn. Just arrived at the pill room door. A bunch of Taoists suddenly swarmed around me. All knelt down in unison. Master Wyaguzi, you're truly a sage among mortals. Please, Master, accept us as disciples. I got startled, then instantly got pissed off. Now I'm Ying Zhang's favorite. What I need most is to stay far away from this group of Taoists who are about to get in trouble. Draw a clear line. I shouted harshly at them to leave. They all backed off, cursing as they left. Get out of here. Get out of here. Who's your master? I won't associate with you guys lacking real skills. We won't get along. I cursed them out and left feeling good, leaving behind a fierce line lingering in the morning air.
You bunch of unlucky guys.
Don't drag me down with you.
Why don't you ask around?
I'm always the one roping others in as backup. Who could use me as a sidekick? I cursed those Taoists until their faces were bruised. They didn't dare say a word, left sheepishly. If I ever find out what they're thinking, it's not just cursing. They actually think if they're sincere and take more curses, I, the Wyaguzi master, will eventually soften and tell them where the magical grounds are.
What does Heart of Stone mean?
I'll make sure they learn firsthand. Finally, peace and quiet. I yawned and pushed open the door, and then froze. There were two people inside. One was the kid I just saved, Fusu. The other was his mother, Lady Yu. They obviously arrived earlier, probably saw everything that happened outside. That whole scene was clear as day. Fusu looked at me, like I was some real expert, someone royal even respected. Sir, you curse at them without a care. Didn't even put them in your eyes. That's what a true expert is. Lady Yu looked troubled, mumbled softly. Such rough manners. No sign of gentlemanly conduct. Yet it was him who saved Suor. When I walked in, both of them got up immediately and greeted me. Lady Yu spoke very sincerely. Thank you, Master Wyaguzi, for saving my son. Fusu followed her lead. Repeated it. I nodded. Didn't bother with small talk. Told Fusu straight, time to change the bandage. Take off your shirt. He took it off. I undid the bandage. The wound had already scabbed. Healing well. No need to mess with it anymore. Just let him heal himself. So I grabbed a clean roll of bandages. Wrapped him up again. Simple. 7 days, no water. Once it comes off, it's fine. I grabbed a clay pot. Poured a bowl of water to drink. Turned around and saw those two still standing there. Getting annoyed. Waved my hand. All right. It's fine. You can leave now. With that, I had picked up the bowl to drink. But then Fusu suddenly dropped to his knees. Sir, you're so skilled. Please take me as your apprentice. PFF. I spat my water all over his face. Fusu wiped off the water. Looked up at me confused. Still had some hope in his eyes. Is that a yes? I got so annoyed. Nearly cursed. Yes to what? Who agrees like this? I'm not taking any apprentice. Get going. Are you kidding me? A prince of the Qin dynasty, every single one, is nothing but trouble. I remember clearly. That brat Hu Hai wiped out all his siblings later. Fusu barely even made the history books. He's probably one of the first to get eliminated. Taking him as a disciple. Do I want even more trouble? As I was figuring out how to ditch this headache, Lady Yu spoke.
He's been sickly since childhood.
If he could study under you, I'd feel much better. She spoke sincerely, but clearly wouldn't take no for an answer. If you really don't want a disciple, let him just help out around you. Maybe learn some life lessons. How about that? I was speechless. What can I teach him about life? But Lady Yu gave me no chance to refuse, bowed again, and left Fusu with me, then turned and left herself.
Clearly.
She believes I'm some true expert with secret skills. I looked at this gift in front of me, sighed. Fine, just stay if you want. I was thinking to myself, better get along with Prince Qin. Can't hurt for now. As for 10 years later, he'll be out in 10 years. If I can't get away by then, I guess I deserve it. The rooster crowed 3 times outside. Sleepiness hit me. I flopped onto the bed, let out a satisfied sigh. Sir, what are we doing next? Fusu leaned in, curious. Sleep. I couldn't even open my eyes. Mumbled out 2 words, half asleep. Fusu froze. It's still daytime. You're going to sleep now? Isn't that just lazy? Yep, I'm just a lazy person. I turned over, muttered. If you can't stand it, just go. Unexpectedly, Fusu stood there for a moment. He suddenly bowed in awe. Disciple understands. He said excitedly, I'm just too focused on the outside world. Day and night, commoners and sages, are just empty titles. Sir, your state of mind is truly beyond this world. I'm truly amazed. Thank you for your guidance. I nearly choked. Wanted to call him clueless, but I was just too tired. Didn't even have strength to speak. So I just passed out. When I woke up again, it was already noon. I opened my eyes. The messy room, was now spotless. Even the small stove was shiny. Fusu looked at me, eager to please. Are you satisfied, sir? I looked him up and down, confused. His clothes were neat, not a hint of having worked. You cleaned this? I asked. Fusu scratched his head, a little embarrassed. No, I didn't. I just gave the orders. Zhao Yi and Wu Jiao did the work. I glanced at the two in the corner, sweating buckets. So tired they could barely stand up straight. The young eunuch nodded with satisfaction. I patted Fusu on the shoulder, said seriously, good job. You've got promise. You're meant for big things. You shouldn't get stuck on small stuff like cleaning. That's too small-minded. When Fusu heard that, he got all red with excitement. Nodded hard. Next to him, Wu Jiao was on the verge of tears, thinking, what kind of logic is that? Even the emperor still lights the lamp and promotes farming. I glanced around, finally looked at Wu Jiao. Lunch? Wu Jiao quickly bowed. It's ready. General Li Shen sent word. A banquet is ready at his mansion. You're invited after your nap. The word banquet instantly lit up my eyes. Come on, you're with me. Wu Jiao looked reluctant, thinking I'm supposed to help with alchemy for the king, not be your personal assistant. But seeing Fusu next to me,
He didn't dare say a word.
had to follow politely behind me. We just stepped out, and people outside knelt again with a whoosh. Master Wyaguzi, please take us as disciples. Same bunch of clingy guys again. I got furious. Without a word, I rushed in and scolded them loudly. They cried and wailed from the yelling. Afterwards, I was panting hard. I pointed at Fusu behind me, shouted, look closely. Fusu is already my disciple. Do you know who he is? You lot with no morals. Think you're worthy to be his peer. Trying to be his equal, with bad intentions. Just looking to cause trouble. I'm reporting this to the king right now. With that big accusation, those Fangshi were terrified. Ran off, stumbling all over. I wiped my sweat. Muttered, guess I'm too nice. No wonder they keep pestering me. With them gone, Fusu came up excited, sir. Did you really make me your disciple? I shot him a look, shook my head, just scaring them. You're still being tested. Keep it up. If you do well, I'll think about it. Fuju's eyes lit up. He nodded with all his might. Super hyped. I laughed to myself. People on probation are the easiest to use, so I'll just keep him there. I walked a couple steps toward the palace gate, then stopped, looked back at Fusu confused. What was I about to do? Sir, you're going to General Li Shen's banquet. Oh, right. I smacked my forehead. Where's Li Shen's house? Fusu looked puzzled. Weren't you recommended to the palace by General Li Shen, sir? You probably lived at his place before, right? I froze. I quickly searched my mind, trying to dig up Huawei Guzi's pitiful memories. But my impression of Li Shen's residence was just a vague shadow. I shook my head, randomly pointed for Wu Jiao to lead the way. Wu Jiao looked miserable. Sir, I'm a public servant, not your personal slave, going out of the palace to show the way. I couldn't be bothered to argue with him, so I just said lightly, the king wants you to listen to me. First day on the job and you're disobeying? If you delay the alchemy, can you handle the consequences? Wu Jiao was totally deflated. How does everything lead back to alchemy? If the elixir fails later, he'll blame me for not leading the way today. So all he could do was sullenly guide me out. Wu Jiao found us a carriage. We both got in. Halfway there, a shout came from the street. Drunken immortal wine, get your drunken immortal wine. Even masters get drunk on it. Praised personally by Wyaguzi, the nemesis of mystics. I couldn't help but laugh. Isn't that the boss who sold strong liquor before? He really listens. Advertising for me everywhere. I was in a good mood, so I told Wu Jiao to go reward him with some money. Wu Jiao replied, okay, but just sat in the carriage. I frowned. What's up? You want to disobey again? Wu Jiao was almost crying. Sir, I don't have that much money. Give him whatever you have. I waved my hand. Go on. Don't waste my time. Wu Jiao sluggishly got out. In his heart, he'd cursed me 1,000 times. She wants to reward someone, but makes the servant pay. What kind of person is this? Eunuchs barely get paid anyway. He stormed up to the wine cellar, fished out his only 3 chin coins, and slapped them down on the counter. Annoyed, he grumbled, "Huai Guzi. This is from the lady," and walked off before the boss could react. He didn't look back. The boss stared at those 3 coins and was stunned. Cold sweat broke out instantly. He's been using my name lately, and liquor sales have soared. He's made a lot. He was feeling pretty proud. But now he sensed big trouble ahead. Who gives just 3 coins as a reward? This is clearly a warning. A threat. The little eunuch's anger just now, still fresh in his mind. The boss didn't dare yell his slogans anymore.
He scrambled back to the kitchen. He knew trouble was coming.
His wife was adding water to the wine. With a miserable face, he said, "What now?" His wife glared at him. "What about Master Guzi? He seems mad. We advertise for him, and he's unhappy. But if we don't, he's still unhappy. What are we supposed to do?" She rolled her eyes, then suddenly laughed. "You're such a fool. The master is hinting at you. Rewarding you means you did well. But giving just 3 coins means you didn't give enough." Boss froze, then realized, "Master wants us to show our gratitude." Obviously. His wife slapped her thigh. "You're using his name to draw in crowds, making big money, but giving him nothing. Who'd be happy with that? Take a little money to him, and it's all good. I'm really clueless." The boss smacked his forehead hard and rushed off to do the books, figuring out how much it would take to please the master. But after tallying the money,
He started worrying again.
Master Huai Guzi lives in the palace. How the hell do I get money to him? Meanwhile, I'd already arrived at the general's mansion. Li Shen and his wife greeted me at the door. Li's wife looked at me with a complicated expression. From the first moment, she thought I lacked real skills. But who would have thought that this no-talent person would actually save Fusu and get her husband promoted? She's been convincing herself that real masters are unpredictable. Maybe I really am a master. But as soon as she saw me enter, my eyes swept the place like searchlights. Sneaky as can be, scanning between pretty maids and priceless decor. That faith she'd just built crumbled in an instant. I was totally enjoying the view. But when I turned my head, I met Madame Li's look of contempt. All I could do was force a laugh. Thankfully, Li Shen is a straightforward guy.
He didn't notice any of this.
He warmly pulled me to the table. When the dishes arrived, I was stunned. They had chicken, duck, and fish. But the only seasoning was salt and peppercorn. The taste, just wow. The staple was steamed millet. Fruits were sour plums and apricots. I sighed, lifted my cup, and the wine inside tasted like sugar water. I glanced at Li Shen across from me, wolfing food down, enjoying every bite. All I could think was, ancient people's food. Wait for me to save you. Halfway through the feast, Li Shen was pretty drunk and raised his cup. "Brother Huawei, have you heard? The king is giving you a death immunity token. You'll probably get it tomorrow." "That's awesome." I smiled and casually asked, "Li, do you go to court every day?" "Not really," Li Shen sighed. "The king is choosing a title these days. He calls the ministers together every day. Those scholars argue nonstop. Some say Grand Emperor, some Qin Emperor, citing all sorts of classics. It's so annoying. US rough guys can't even speak up. We just stand there every day." Li Shen got more agitated. He slapped the table. "Especially Chun Yu, that old man. Today I just said one line, and he yelled at me in court. What do you know? Told me to shut up." The scholars all burst out laughing. Really pissed me off. "Don't take it so seriously." His wife chimed in. "He's your brother-in-law after all." Li Shen chuckled, a bit of slyness under his bluntness. "The less I understand, the more the king trusts me. So it's all good." I looked at him, thinking Li Shen's got some dumb smart in him. Brother Hua Li Shen set his cup down hard. "You're a mystic. You've seen real masters. You're knowledgeable, give me advice. What should be the king's title? Save me from just standing there tomorrow." I smiled and casually said, "Emperor." Li Shen froze. "Emperor for ages. Titles have always been one word. Isn't this breaking tradition?" I put on airs and started bluffing. The magic school of Qin believes in using modern methods, not ancient ones. The ancients didn't have it, so why can't we have it now? Your Majesty has unified the world. Your achievements will be remembered for ages. This is a groundbreaking event in history. You've matched the 3 sovereigns, surpassed even the 5 emperors, You will be called Wang Di. Only then will your majesty's greatness last for generations. Li Shen was stunned by what he heard. Then he slapped his thigh, thinking it was brilliant. That's a great idea. He immediately found bamboo slips and wrote down every word I just said. After plenty of food and drink, it was already late. Half drunk, I said my goodbyes. Wu Jiao had already been waiting outside, eagerly looking for me.
That day,
He'd been stuck eating boiled beans with Li's servants and got forced to drink a lot and really needed to pee. He just wanted to leave already. As our carriage passed by, at 94, the shop owner ran over clutching a money bag. He shouted, "Lord Wai, let me bring you this." Before he could finish, Wu Jiao jumped off the carriage, raised his hand and scolded him. The man was so scared he backed away. Wu Jiao shouted, his voice sharp, "The royal carriages are also coming. Do you want to get us killed?" After yelling, he hopped back on, urged the driver to go. "Faster, hurry up!" He really couldn't hold it anymore. And all this, I had no idea about. Because right after I got on the carriage, I was already dead drunk. The next day, after the third crow of the rooster, I woke up to the noise, rolled over, and went back to sleep. Meanwhile, Li Shen got up super early, wore his formal clothes, and held the bamboo slip that said Emperor on it.
he rushed to court, excited.
Emperor! Emperor! Hehe, Brother Hua really is a genius. As he walked, he was shaking his head, feeling proud, already imagining how he'd impress everyone at court today. Debating the scholars, and stunning the whole hall, making those snobby scholars speechless. Normally, Li Shen hated going to court,
He was just a military man.
always arguing with those officials, and losing every single time. Every time they quoted the classics, he felt totally lost. All he could do was sit there, staring. But today he was full of confidence. He even arrived first. A few familiar scholars saw him, and surrounded him right away. They teased him sarcastically. "General Li, you're here early today. Got something brilliant to say again. Last time your first king idea blew us all away. So what amazing thought do you have now?" Everyone around started laughing. But Li Shen was different this time.
He didn't get mad.
He stayed calm, even looked at them like they were clowns. Now the scholars were confused. Where'd this brute get such confidence? Just then, Chan Yu arrived. He was a top Confucian scholar, and also Prince Fuju's teacher. The scholars all fell silent when they saw him. He walked up to Li Shen, and quietly warned him not to speak today. "Just listen," he said. Li Shen stiffened his neck, not backing down. Chan Yu's beard was shaking in anger. "You're a soldier, why get involved? Isn't it embarrassing enough? What's wrong with being a soldier?" Li Shen shouted back, "If we're not allowed to speak, then why did you bring us here? Are we just props?" As soon as he said that, the other generals all nodded. He clearly spoke their minds. At that moment, Ying Zhang arrived. Looking exhausted, he asked, "Any progress on the honorific title?" People started repeating the same old lists. Ying Zhang waved his hand in frustration. "Anything new?" "Now's the chance." Li Shen immediately stepped forward. "Your Majesty, I have an idea." Chan Yu's face turned green. He growled, "Li Shen, go back before you embarrass yourself." Wang Ben's son Wang Li grinned and chimed in. There always has to be a reckless general like Li Shen, talking nonsense, making all us generals look bad. Li Shen was furious. He pointed at Wang Li and snapped, "You raise your sword against rebels like Lai, yet can't see people's true nature. And you still have the nerve to stand here?" Wang Li was left speechless. Ying Zhang waved his hand, signaling for quiet. Then he looked at Li Shen. "So what's your idea?"
Tell us.
Li Shen cleared his throat and said loudly, "My idea is this. The honorific title should be 2 characters." As soon as he said that, everyone burst out laughing. This guy is really daydreaming again. Li Shen saw their reaction and started to feel nervous, but he pressed on with his trump card. "Don't laugh yet." This title was something I discussed with Master Wyaguzi. Master Wyaguzi has amazing skills, one of our era's best. How could a name given by him be wrong? As soon as he said that, the courtiers burst into even louder laughter. Hua Yuzi, that clumsy guy who failed at alchemy. A street doctor who just got lucky curing Fusu. What kind of respectful title could he even come up with? Even Ying Zhang on the throne looked a little unconvinced. He believes in my skills, but doesn't think much of my writing. I know full well Ying Zhang never really expected anything from Li Xin, but since he's already here, he still had to say something. So I looked at Ying Zhang on the throne and saw him impatiently wave his hand. Li Xin, your honorific title. Li Xin stepped forward, took a deep breath, and shouted it out. The whole court fell silent instantly. It wasn't that the two words were so impressive, it's just that they actually sounded normal. Everyone thought Li Xin would say something earth-shattering, or some ridiculous nonsense. But with expectations so low, he actually surprised them. Though they were shocked, they still had to respond. An old scholar stroked his beard and forced a fake smile as he stepped out. Generals have always had one-word titles. You're using two here. That's out of order. Li Xin was waiting for that. He grinned and burst out laughing, looking just like a kid who got candy. Suddenly, from his sleeve, he pulled out the bamboo slip I wrote him last night, holding it like a legendary weapon, and fired back at the scholars. The Great Qing was founded by rule of law. The Book of Songs preserves tradition. The ancients didn't have an emperor. Doesn't mean we can't have one now. The ancients also ate raw animals. Why aren't you guys wearing leaves to court? That stunned the old scholars. What the heck? How did this brute Li Xin get so clever today? They had no clue. Those were the lines I stayed up writing for him. One Confucian scholar wouldn't back down and stubbornly argued, but a two-word title just sounds weird. And the emperor title is just a mix of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors' names anyway. Each one took a character. Nothing new. Li Xin stiffened his neck and spoke even louder. That's exactly why the Great Qin unified the world. Our achievements are unmatched. One word just isn't enough. As for mixing titles, it's because our king today has virtue like the 3 sovereigns and achievements beyond the 5 emperors. Virtue of the 3 sovereigns. Achievements beyond the 5 emperors. Those 8 words rumbled through the hall like thunder. The whole court was silent as death. Even Ying Zhang sat up straighter, eyes flashing with gold. That flattery felt great to him. Excellent, very well said. Ying Zhang couldn't help slapping the table in praise. Li Xin let out a long breath and gave the room a smug look. That look was just like the way I usually look at idiots. It worked perfectly. Ying Zhang was already on his feet, full of energy. This ruler has unified the world. My achievements are truly unprecedented. Virtue of the 3 sovereigns. Achievements beyond the 5 emperors. I can handle those 8 words. He glanced at everyone and said clearly, from now on, 2-character titles are the tradition. Single-character ones are history. The boss already gave the word. Who dare argue? Honestly, quite a few thought the title was great. But since it was suggested by Li Xin, that brute, they just felt awkward about it and couldn't bring themselves to praise him. But Li Xin didn't care. He put his hands on his hips and walked right up to those same scholars. Chin almost pointed at the ceiling. Gentlemen, what do you think of that title? So, how about that title? Those scholars turned beet red, and after a long pause just saluted. General, you're talented in both civil and military affairs. We're impressed. Li Xin laughed so loud the roof nearly shook. Just then, Ying Zhang's gaze landed on Li Xin. Did you and Wai Guzi come up with this title together? Li Xin scratched his head and didn't hide the truth. He just wanted to embarrass people in public, didn't care about taking credit. So he answered honestly, it was mainly Brother Wai's idea. I just passed on Wai Guzi's words. Ying Zhang repeated my name and nodded in satisfaction. Not only skilled at writing, but also has this kind of vision. A real talent. He immediately told eunuch Ji Ming, go bring Huai Guzi here. I'll grant him special permission to observe court. Ji Ming really didn't want to go. His wound just healed, and I was the one who caused it. But he didn't dare object, so he hobbled off. But after a while, only Ji Ming came back, looking miserable. Where's Huai Guzi? Ying Zhang frowned. Ji Ming immediately dropped to his knees and started complaining, adding all the details. Your Majesty, when I went there, Huai Guzi was still drunk and asleep. I woke him up and told him you summoned him. He actually said he needed to wash and change first. Didn't want to break etiquette. I tried to hurry him, but he got annoyed and almost punched me. If I hadn't dodged, I'd have lost my front teeth. He's making the whole court wait for him. Who does that? Who'd believe it? When Yingzheng heard this, he wasn't angry at all. He actually laughed. He's getting more refined, huh? He knows to wash and change before meeting me? Very good. Very good. He gave Jiming a cold look. You've been in the palace all these years, and you still don't know basic etiquette?
He lifted his hand to scold him.
So there was a reason after all. Jiming was totally stunned, his mind buzzing. What just happened? I got hit, and it's somehow my fault. He sadly realized. Right now, I'm Yingzheng's favorite. No matter what I do, it's always right. Half an hour later, Li Shui finally walked in yawning, strolling casually into the hall. As soon as Yingzheng saw me, he waved off the kneeling gesture and lavishly praised me, saying how much he loved the title emperor. I could only force a smile and salute. I'm truly humbled. Just then, Wang Li, who had been silent, suddenly jumped in.
He'd figured it out already.
Li Shen just scored another big win. The Wang family had been overshadowed. He had to take back the spotlight. Wang Li stepped forward and called out, Your Majesty, I have an even better idea. You could call yourself the first emperor, and your heirs could be the second, third, and so on, passing on for 10,000 generations. As soon as he said that, everyone started nodding in agreement. Wang Ben stroked his beard, looking completely satisfied. My son has grown up. That move was brilliant. What does being rational and suggesting an emperor even do? My son plus that first title. Most of the credit gets snatched away. Yingzheng looked pretty pleased.
He was just about to praise me.
But out of nowhere, I rushed right up to Wang Jian. Didn't even give him a second to react. Pa. I slapped him hard from both sides. A series of crisp slaps echoed throughout the hall. Everyone was shocked. Wang Li was totally stunned by the hits. His face was burning with pain. He never imagined someone would dare slap him in court right in front of Yingzheng. I shook my aching hand off, then turned to Yingzheng and saluted. Spoke with total righteousness. Your Majesty, I heard Wang Li cursed you. I got furious for a moment. Couldn't hold it back. Please forgive me. Wang Li held his face, completely dumbfounded. When did I ever curse the king? Yingzheng looked at me, totally confused. I pointed at Wang Li, voice full of anger. I've been working day and night to make you pills for health and longevity. I'm about to succeed. Your endless life is just around the corner. But he messes it up, talking about a second or third emperor. Isn't that straight up cursing the king? Can't you live long and prosper? There can only be one emperor in this world, and that's you. The hall fell totally silent. That angle was just too clear. Yingzheng's expression visibly darkened. You could see his face turning gloomy. He obviously agreed with my analysis. Wang Li was battered and dizzy. The pain in his heart was way worse than his face. He wanted to fight back. But this was court. He's not a reckless guy like Li Shen. And definitely not a shameless guy like me. All he could do was glare at me with hatred, thinking hard, waiting it out. Just you wait. But when he looked up, he saw Yingzheng's dark face, and his heart sank. He realized his flattery backfired big time. Wang Ben had to step out and take responsibility. He stepped up for his son. Your Majesty, our Wang family has served loyally for 3 generations. Wang Li meant no offense. He's just a soldier, not good with words. He misspoke. I request he be fined a year's salary. Li Shen wouldn't miss a chance like this. He immediately threw shade. Turns out General Wang Li is really just a rude, illiterate brute. Makes us warriors look pretty bad. Wang Li's face turned beet red. He was shaking with anger, but had no choice but to accept. If he didn't, it'd be like admitting it. Cursing the emperor is basically suicide. Yingzheng coldly gave a grunt and approved. The old Confucians led by Chen Yu glared at me, furious. This guy is nothing but trouble. Longevity and health, those are pretty vague things. If everyone listens to me, should we even bother building the Lishan tomb? Would Crown Prince Fusu ever get to inherit? He turned around and locked eyes with Li Si, the court official, grinning smugly. Li Si is from legalism and has fought Confucians for decades. Today he did nothing. Just watched the Confucians on this side get totally wrecked by me and Li Shen. Chen Yu was mad as hell. I didn't care about any of their reactions. I turned to Ying Zhang and bowed again. Your Majesty, after thinking about it, the 3 words First Emperor are actually pretty cool. Sounds awesome. Wang Li saw his chance. He instantly used my logic to fight back. Since your Majesty wants to live long, and there should only be one emperor, why add first? Huawei Guzi, are you cursing the king too? As soon as he finished, he felt dizzy for a second, raised his hand for another scolding. Wang Li was so scared he backed away repeatedly. Wang Li totally lost it. He shouted, Hua Guzi, you're digging your own grave, and swung his fist to attack. Li Shen instantly rushed to my side, muscles tensed up, ready to go. Everyone, stop right now. Ying Zhang shouted angrily. How dare you fight in front of me? Do you even see me here? I am here. Once again I spoke with righteous anger, addressing Ying Zhang. I just heard him curse you again, Your Majesty. Couldn't hold back at all. Everyone was speechless. Here we go again, but none of us heard it. I didn't give them a chance to question me. I shot back quickly. Wang Li said, there should only be one emperor ruling forever. That's cursing Your Majesty, saying you can't ascend to immortality. Longevity and health is just the first step. The next step is to ascend and become immortal. You'll rule over the paradise. That realm is huge. Once Your Majesty becomes the first emperor, would you even care about this tiny mortal world? It's like if you, Wang Li, became a general. Would you go back to be the constable of Sishui? By then, naturally, you'll pass the throne to your heirs. 2nd generation, 3rd generation, for all generations to come. And you'll live high up in the immortal land, enjoying endless offerings. Everyone there was completely stunned by my words. That flattery was truly out of this world. It basically reached the heavens. Wang Li was so mad he almost cracked his teeth. You said I cursed the first emperor just now, but now you say the same thing yourself. You're really pushing it. I glanced at him and said calmly, you meant beginning as the end. I mean beginning as ascension. How is that the same? Ying Zhang was utterly delighted, even if ascension sounded ridiculous.
He still loved the idea to his core.
He waved his hand, fine. That's the end of it. I shall be the first emperor. Then, without hesitation, I was the first to kneel, putting all my strength into it. I shouted at the top of my lungs, long live the emperor! Forever and ever. My sucking up was next level. That over-the-top acting left all the ministers amazed. Having skin this thick is an art in itself. Ying Zhang was pleased from head to toe by my praise. He held back his laughter and put on a mysterious look, arise. Right then, Zhao Gao, the chief official, rushed over. He whispered a few words to Ying Zhang. After hearing them, Ying Zhang looked even more satisfied with me.
He declared loudly, Waiaguzi has done great merit by offering this title.
Such loyalty deserves praise. I've decided to grant you a mansion, 1,000 acres of good farmland, and also give you a death exemption token. A death exemption token? Everyone was shocked. What the heck is that? It actually grants you immunity from death penalty, even if you're just a lowly eunuch. Immediately, a little servant brought over a shiny gold token. I was so excited I almost drooled. The front said immunity from death, but when I flipped it to the back, my smile froze. It had tiny letters, except for those with bad intentions, who deceive or betray the emperor, or commit great crimes. All are immune to death. The trick is in the word great crimes. Isn't that just terms apply like later generations? In the end, the emperor gets to decide what it means. If he gets annoyed with me someday, he could say even stepping with my left foot first counts as a great crime, and I get punished all the same. I was speechless inside. These scheming people are so tough to deal with. It's just impossible. Honestly, this thing is like a gold brick you can't spend. I'm annoyed, but others don't know that. Chen Yu jumped out first to object to Your Majesty. If this is allowed, what happens to the law? What if he does evil with this token? The state will fall apart. Li Si also chimed in, if a prince breaks the law, he should be punished like a commoner. Please rethink, Your Majesty. The ministers were all buzzing, begging Ying Zhang to take back his decree. I looked at these fired-up elders, then at Ying Zhang perfectly calm on his throne. And it all clicked. This token is to give me courage. But more than that, it's for others to see. Actual immunity? No way. But it'll make anyone wanting to get rid of me think twice. They won't dare act rashly. I couldn't help glancing at Ying Zhang again, and marveled in my heart. Ancient emperors were crafty to the max. Ying Zhang couldn't care less about the ministers. He just waved his sleeve. My mind is made up. Court dismissed. Outside the main hall, everyone's eyes were fixed on me like nails, staring at me intensely. I chuckled and purposely pulled out the gold token, swinging it around in the sunlight. The glare was blinding. "Hey guys," I said lazily. "If you ever accidentally annoy me in the future, one slip of my hand and who knows what might happen. Not my problem anyway." As soon as I said that, the faces of Wang Li and his son went instantly pale. We're mortal enemies now, and this crazy guy has a death immunity token. If he really goes nuts. With that thought, everyone just instinctively backed away from me. But Li Xin came over, his eyes sparkling. "Huaich, can I borrow that thing? I've got a few enemies too." He wasn't quiet about it. A few nearby officials who didn't get along with him. Their knees went weak on the spot. I cleared my throat, patted Li Xin's shoulder, "Libro. Heaven favors those who do good. Give them a second chance. If they still don't learn, then we'll deal with them." Those few people sighed in relief right away, giving me grateful looks. Right then, a big crowd of Taoists came over from afar. As soon as they saw me, they jogged right over, all dropping to their knees. "Respect to Grandmaster." Everyone in court was stunned again. These guys are shameless. Yesterday I cursed them out, and today they lower themselves and call me Grandmaster. I was so mad I nearly passed out. I pointed at their noses and scolded them out, cursing them from their ancestors to their future kids, complaining about all of them. Nonsense. Who's your Grandmaster? Get lost. But they grabbed my leg, wailing, "Grandmaster. We've already sworn loyalty to Lord Fusu, so you're our Grandmaster now." I was about to act when I saw Fusu running over swinging a stick, beating those Taoists like crazy, yelling, "Who told you to randomly pick masters? Don't drag me into it." Watching this student-teacher brawl, I suddenly realized fighting takes real energy.
Panting.
I pulled out my gold token and pressed it right up to a Taoist's face, yelling, "Open your eyes and look, see what this is." That Taoist saw the words "immunity from death" and started trembling in fear. "I've got the death immunity token." I yelled, "I can punish people and don't take the blame. I'll count to 3. If anyone else dares bother me, I'll send them to meet King Yama." 3! I started the count right there. Those Taoists all scrambled away in terror, running so fast they lost their shoes. Quite a few shoes were left behind. I put away my token and sneered, "Useless fools. You don't even have the guts to take a risk for me, and yet you want me as your master." Off in the distance, Fusu scratched his head. "So that's the standard for disciples? Speaking of risk, I'm kind of scared too." 3 days later, Ying Zhang's edict spread across the land
He officially declared himself the first emperor.
and named King Zhongshang as the retired emperor. And at the same time, 2 decrees arrived at my house and Li Xin's place. Li Xin was rewarded for his meritorious service, promoted to a higher rank.
He was so happy he invited Chen Yu over again that same day.
Showing off in every possible way. Chen Yu was so mad he almost stormed out. And the edict I got had even more content. Besides officially granting me a title, I got a mansion and some good farmland. They even wrote that immunity token into the decree, so now everyone knows about it. The house and land are right next to Longqi Palace. You can't get any closer to the palace. At the end of the edict, I was even reminded, "Don't slack off on alchemy." I sighed as I touched that flashy but useless token. Magic pill, huh? This thing is basically a curse. I knew full well, counting on this token to save my life is pointless. But I smirked. I'd already said there's no hope for a miracle pill in a few years. And in these years, that gives me time to find a real way to survive. Thinking about that, I stretched, felt refreshed all over. I yelled out to Wu Jiao by the door, "Come with me to check out the new house and land." Half an hour later, I was standing on the so-called good farmland, fuming inside. This is what you call good farmland? I pointed at the cracked yellow earth under my feet, yelling at thin air. Just some random weeds on the ground, growing all crooked. Not a single stalk of grain in sight. A little ways off, a few skinny, yellow-faced farmers looked like lost souls, just sitting there spaced out. I felt a wave of frustration. Does the emperor even know what good land means? Is there some huge misunderstanding? Wu Jiao next to me. Had that look like, you've never seen the world? Probably thinking, dude. It's just early spring. They haven't even planted yet. Of course the fields look like this. I didn't bother guessing what he thought. Just turned and pointed at those farmers. Who are those people? Why are they loitering on my land? Wu Jiao looked annoyed, but still explained patiently. They're tenant farmers who rented it to them. I was even more confused. Wu Jiao didn't answer. He just waved over the oldest-looking farmer. The guy looked about 60, face full of wrinkles, skin black as coal. But after asking, turns out he's only in his 40s.
His name's Kang Fu.
Leader of the group. After his stammered explanation, I finally got it. This land has changed owners for hundreds of years. But these people and their families have always worked it, forming this rundown place called Zhaotu Village. Long story short, I own the deed. But they get to use the land by default. They give up a third of the harvest as rent each year. Keep the rest for themselves. Fine, I wasn't planning on kicking them out anyway. 1,000 acres. No way I could farm all that myself. 40 acres per family. Should be enough to eat, right? I asked offhandedly. Kang Fu let out a long sigh. In a good year, barely enough to get by. If there's a disaster, they have to beg for food. I was stunned right there. 40 acres and you still have to flee famine. How much grain do you get per acre? A good year, 1.5 shi. That's only about 160 to 170 pounds. My mind was blown. Those numbers are insane to me. Back in my time, yields were at least 1,000 to 1,800 pounds per acre. Anything less, you'd be embarrassed to call yourself a farmer. But thinking about it makes sense. This is Qin Dynasty. No fertilizer, no pesticides, no high-tech stuff. No wonder the yield's so low. Kang Fu saw how shocked I looked. I managed a wry smile and said, Sir, that's if the weather cooperates. One storm wipes out some. A big rain washes away more, and a drought finishes off the rest. Not much left at the end. Hearing this made my heart sink. I, Li Shui, am a good person. Watching them go hungry, I really feel bad. But if I don't collect rent, then I'll be the one starving. Only way out is to boost the yield. Better drought, flood, and wind resistance, that sort of thing. Suddenly, a light bulb went off. One word popped up. Dacian method from history class. Didn't expect to use that today. It's simple and effective. And it works pretty well. Did we plant the seeds too early with Kuibo? I asked Kang Fu. Just let it go for a day or two. I clapped my hands. Let's try a different way this year. I'll show you how to split the field into 6 parts. Dig ditches on 3 parts. Make ridges with the other 3. Plant the crops in the ditches. Kang Fu looked stunned. He had that confused look on his face. With your plan, sir? Won't we only plant half the land? Smart, I nodded approvingly. Once the crops start to grow, when you weed it, shovel the soil and weeds on the ridge into the ditch, so the roots get covered. As time passes, the ridges flatten and the ditches fill. The roots grow deep. The wind can't knock them over. Drought won't be a problem. I talked till my mouth was dry. But Kang Fu still looked worried. He just kept repeating one thing. But if we do this, we're only planting half the land. I said it again. Trust me, even planting half, you'll still get a bigger harvest than before. He kept mumbling. But it's still just half the land. Now I was mad. I yelled, so are you doing it or not? Kang Fu jumped in fear.
His lips trembled for a while.
Then he stiffened his neck and said, Sir, you're not giving us a way to live. We can't even feed ourselves planting full fields. Now we're only planting half. Next year our village will have to leave and beg. Forgive me, I can't do it. These stubborn people really pushed me over the edge. I didn't want to argue anymore. I turned straight to Wu Jiao. You've seen more stuff. What do you think of my idea? Wu Jiao shrank back. He whispered, Sir, you don't get it. Here, farming and fighting are life or death. This looks like you're slacking off the farming duties. That's a big responsibility. Here we go again. Now I get it. Trying to explain science to these folks is just a waste of time. I pulled out my protection token with a blank face, waved it in front of them. You guys know what this is? Kang Fu squinted at it for a while. I can't read, sir. I sighed. It's a protection token. It means I don't have to answer for what I do. I'll check in a few days. Whose field isn't planted my way? I made those last words sound really scary. Kang Fu shivered on the spot. He nodded like crazy. Don't worry, sir. We'll do exactly as you say. I put away the token. I was speechless inside. There's just no reasoning with them. I really have to play the bad guy and be tough just to get them to listen. Wu Jiao next to me watched me turn pale. His eyes said one thing. We're done. Big trouble now. Slacking off the farming duties. That could wipe out a whole family. I'd better leave quick. Right after, Wu Jiao started thinking about how to bail. But then he remembered Ji Ming and hesitated. Ji Ming backed out at the worst moment and ended up with nothing. Got punished hard too. Now he walks with a limp. Wu Jiao sighed at that. Guess he thought sticking with me is dangerous. But still better than being a traitor. No way. I knew what was going on in his head. After checking the messed up fields, I was all pumped to see my mansion. But as soon as I got there, my face looked worse than the ruined fields. This place was huge. Real high class too. But it honestly looked unlucky as hell. Doors and windows were trashed. Spiderwebs everywhere. I opened the door and a cold wind hit me. There were crazy high weeds in the yard. A flock of crows burst out cawing. I rubbed my arms. Asked Wu Jiao, what the heck is this place? Shang Lord's villa. Yeah, Shang Yang. I counted on my fingers. Took a deep breath. This place is over 100 years old. Oh my god. I turned and left. It's not just a bad luck house. It's ancient and falling apart. I'm living where Shang Yang stayed. What, do they want me to die young too? I complained but forced myself to calm down. I got over it. Mansions given out in the old days were always the oldest ones. Where else would they come from? But honestly, you can't live here. My hopes for rich land and a mansion were all crushed. I walked back feeling down. On the way, I ran into Kang Fu again. He brought a bunch of villagers who immediately knelt in front of me. Said they'd made a simple dinner to welcome me. And I was really hungry. So I went with them to the tiny village. That place was poor as hell. Mud huts with straw roofs. Soon as I walked in, everyone stopped what they were doing. Saluted with all the respect in the world. At least now I was finally feeling better. We ate in the open area in the village center. I took one sip of the drink and started to frown. Not only was the wine weak, it was bitter too. As for the food, mostly wild herbs and some kind of meat I couldn't even tell, which tasted terrible. Main dish was a bowl of boiled wheat, so hard it nearly broke my teeth. And it was flavorless too. I sighed, cursed it in my head. Don't they even have flour here? I thought Lu Ban invented the millstone. Guess history books are full of crap. Right then, Kang Fu and the others kneeled again. Please, sir, if we only plant half the field, we really can't survive. Now I had a headache. My first reaction was to pull out my token. But then they said if we do this, half the 100 villagers would be out of work. That actually made me think. I gave it some thought. Got an idea. All right, we have 20 families, right? Talk it over. 10 will farm. The other 10 will gather stones with me. We'll make millstones. Kang Fu looked lost. Yes, millstones turn wheat into flour. So you can make good food. I promise making millstones makes way more money than farming. I said confidently. Wu Jiao nearly fainted listening. He probably thought, great, now on top of slacking farming duties. I added weird inventions to the list. We're really doomed now. I ignored him. After forcing down that bowl of wheat, I wiped my mouth. You have one day to talk it over. Tomorrow I'll bring people. I pulled Wu Jiao away as soon as I finished. Didn't give them a chance to complain more. Right after I left, the villagers burst into arguments. A guy called who started yelling. I don't care. I have to plant all my field. Who does he think he is? Kang Fu hurried to stop him. Are you crazy? The official has a protection token. Who spat. His eyes flashed. So what? Protection token or not. Failing to farm is a big crime. I'll go to Shanyang City and report him. Let him use the token to pay for his crime. He snatched that string of coins from Kang Fu. That was the reward I told Wu Jiao to give earlier. I'll go file the complaint for everyone. But it's risky. So the money's mine now. After saying that, he walked away without looking back. Kang Fu was shaking with anger. But he didn't dare say a word. This bully from Erhu village. No one dares mess with him. The next day, when I came to Xiaotu village again, everyone was already assigned. The ones making grindstones with me are called pulpers. The ones staying to farm are called farmers. But when I saw these old, sick pulpers, I got mad again. They were all old, weak, or disabled. No strong workers at all. Was this really a volunteer group? I looked in the crowd. Kang Fu, didn't you say you wanted to farm? Why are you here too? Kang Fu forced a bitter smile. Sir, they split up all my fields thanks to Erhu and his guys. What else could I do but come? My family has few people, so of course we get bullied. Hearing that, my heart sank. Just a tiny rundown village, but it's survival of the fittest. They're really experts at this. I took a deep breath. I looked at the desperate pulpers and said, all right, doesn't matter if you're willing or forced. Now that you left the water to follow me, I promise in 10 days, all those farmers will be jealous of you. After I said that, I waved and left. Better find a mason to learn the craft first. Meanwhile, that guy Erhu was already carrying my money and striding into Xianyang City. The kid's got some brains.
He didn't go to the authorities right away,
But first slipped into a tavern to gather intel. He knows that to bring down a noble, he needs to find his enemies first. While he was drinking, he overheard the tavern owner talking about Master Wyaguzi, like a dragon, always hidden, never seen. No way to deliver the money. What should he do? Erhu's ears perked up. Wyaguzi, isn't that the new boss in our village? He immediately went over to get some info. Seeing Erhu had money, the owner started telling the whole story with flair. How young Master Fu Yao made Wang Dan and Wang Li furious and got the emperor's favor. All of it came out. Erhu was thrilled after hearing that. Turns out he's a mortal enemy of Wang Li. Looks like I've got this. He put down his cup and headed straight for General Wang Li's mansion. Wang Li had just come back from hunting that day, full of anger. I've been giving him a hard time lately. He's become a laughingstock in the council hall. Then he heard someone shouting outside his gate that they ran into Wyaguzi. His eyes lit up. Who ran into Wyaguzi? What are you reporting him for? Wang Li jumped off his horse and sternly asked. Erhu immediately knelt down and recounted exactly what I did in Xiaotu village.
He didn't exaggerate a bit.
He didn't need to. Wang Li was so excited, cracking his knuckles. Good. Very good. Follow me inside. Let's wait for the right moment. We only get one shot. While they were plotting, my first grindstone factory, actually the ruined old villa of Lord Shang, was already running. I was sitting on a big rock, drinking a bit, supervising the pulpers as they smashed rocks, working up a sweat. By the end of the day, the grinders finally started to take shape. When it got dark, I had Wu Jiao hand out the wages. Send them home after that. When Wu Jiao gave out the money, that look in his eyes was just like he was staring at some greedy eunuch boss. I patted his shoulder. Wu Jiao, relax. Once the factory runs, you get a 10% share. I'll take 80. The rest gets split among them. Wu Jiao just nodded quietly. But in his heart, he's probably cursing me. I paid for it, but they did the work. So why do I get 80%? That night, Li Shen showed up with more wine at the market looking for me. We were having a blast drinking, and I bragged to him about my plan for the factory, throwing in some complaints about Qin's food on the side. Li Shen asked Wai out of curiosity, what kind of food is your hometown known for? I was pretty drunk and just started talking. Steamed lamb, steamed bear paws, steamed deer tail, roasted duck, roast chicken, roast goose, just kept naming dishes. Li Shen was practically drooling listening to that.
He muttered. Sounds delicious just hearing it.
Before bed, he suddenly asked me if the Zhongnu sent the left-wise king as envoy. Mingyu jumped right to that topic. Why? What's your take? By then I was already half out of it. Just mumbled. They're guests from afar, that's all. Just fight them. End of story. Why even try to reason with people like that? Li Shen heard this. Totally agreed. I was thinking the same. When the envoy gets here, I'll capture him to set an example. Hopeless brute, that's what he is. Next day, at the Qin court meeting, my rank wasn't high enough, so I couldn't attend. In the main hall, The officials were discussing how to receive the Zhongnu envoy. Li Shen suddenly jumped out, shouting about arresting the envoy and marching north to attack. He even added, "This is the idea of Master Waiaguzi." All the officials snickered quietly, thinking me always emotional. Paired with brute Li Shen is a match made in heaven. Ying Zheng didn't really say anything. Li Shen was blunt, but it was just what he wanted. He casually asked, "What's Waiaguzi up to lately?" Li Shen quickly answered, "Wai Yi is out farming good land, fixing up houses, planning to build a stone mill, and making medicine." Before he finished, Wang Li stepped up with a smile, raised his voice, and said, "Nonsense. General Li, you've been tricked by him." He turned to Ying Zheng and shouted, "Your Majesty, Waiaguzi left half the work and made the farmers break rocks, causing hundreds of acres of farmland to go to waste. That's neglecting farm work. This is a nation built on farming and war. Yet he's openly going against that. A serious offense. I request severe punishment for Waiaguzi, as an example to others." Wang Ben stood by, stroking his beard, looking smug. Li Shen was so mad his face turned green. "Wang Li, you're talking nonsense. Got any proof?" "Proof?" Wang Li laughed loudly. "That's exactly what I wanted to hear. There's witnesses and evidence. Already. The evidence is that ruined farmland. Witness is village boy Erhu, right outside the hall."
He quickly bowed to Ying Zheng.
And shouted, "Your Majesty." I asked to summon Zheng Erhu. He couldn't hide his grin anymore. In front of everyone, before all the top officials. If blame was set on me, let's see if Ying Zheng protects his own policy. Or stands by me. Erhu came in, led by the little eunuch, who'd already told me the script on the way, telling me, "You're reporting to the emperor." Reporting Wang Li. That guy even patted Erhu on the shoulder, acting fake, saying, "The emperor will stand up for you." I had to hold back a laugh hearing that. Erhu was shaking like a leaf, barely able to speak clearly.
He forced us to farm only half the land.
And said he'd punish whoever disobeyed. Ying Zheng's brow furrowed, his voice ice cold. If Erhu is lying, he'll be punished. Get it? I wouldn't dare. Erhu knocked his head on the floor, hard. The whole village can prove it. The old man in the spring clinic started sighing again, saying, "If only we'd known. Why bother in the first place?" Looking all mysterious and wise, Wang Li saw it was almost time. So he stoked the fire. Waiaguzi jumped in. "Did you help him grind stones?" "Is that true?" Yes. Outrageous." Wang Li suddenly flicked his sleeve. His voice jumped an octave. "And just labeled me on the spot. Unauthorized milling, making a scene. That's overstepping your authority. An unpardonable crime." Then he dropped to his knees with a thud, howling. I asked for heavy punishment for Waiaguzi, to set things straight. Then his men behind him all knelt down too, uniformly shouting, "We request severe punishment for Waiaguzi, to set an example." Ji Ming, that nasty eunuch, was next to the emperor, looking gleeful. I get it, he still remembers the last beating. Li Shen was the only one left standing in the palace. Ying Zheng looked right at him. Li Shen straightened his neck, spoke loud and clear. "It's not all clear yet. What if Wai had his reasons? Why not call him in to explain?" Ying Zheng didn't answer, but he agreed. He still needed me for the medicine, after all. No way he'd really punish me. But using this to put pressure on me for sure. 15 minutes later, I arrived. First thing I did was yell out loud. Clear out all the schemers. Purge the corrupt, Wang Ming. They were all stunned, probably thinking I was playing the thief shouting thief. Before they could react, I'd already charged over. I kicked at some kneeling officials on the edge, lifting my foot and kicking as I moved. Scheming little crooks. Let me deal with you. I kept kicking on my way, smooth as flowing water. By the time they caught on, the ground was covered with toppled men. "Stop," Ying Zheng finally shouted, his voice angry and fierce. "I'm charging you myself." So I stopped, gave a dry laugh, bowed and said, "Your Majesty. Look at these scheming crooks, trying to bully you with numbers." I just couldn't hold back, got really mad. As soon as I said that, the kneeling crowd's faces all changed. They got it now. Forcing the emperor to punish someone he didn't want to. That's blatant pressure, especially for hard-headed Ying Zheng. No way he'd take that. A few snuck peeks up and saw Ying Zhang's stone-cold face, regretting it big time. That's enough. Ying Zhang didn't want to waste words and got right to the point. Someone accused you of neglecting farm work. What do you say? I smiled and calmly asked, Your Majesty, even if I really neglected farm work, is a few hundred acres worth bringing up at court? Are you going to personally handle every little thing? Like the neighbor's lost dog or sick ox? Do you have to settle it all yourself? Then I changed the subject and pointed right at Wang Li. Honestly, Wang Li's abusing his power, using this chance to get even, making a huge deal out of nothing. He's forcing you in front of everyone, trying to make you take a side. That's pressure. That's challenging your authority. Very suspicious motives. Your Majesty, I think Wang Li's up to no good. He should be removed immediately to uphold the integrity of the court. The entire hall went dead silent. Everyone was just stunned. How did reporting someone turn into scheming against others? Wang Li was totally stunned on the spot. His mouth was open wide enough to fit an egg in. I'm scheming against you. I bet his mind totally froze. He didn't even know where to start to defend himself. In the end, he just knelt down and banged his head on the ground like crazy. Your Majesty, my family has served as generals for 3 generations. We've always been loyal. I've never had any second thoughts. The administrator probably thought it was funny too. He saw Wang Li's forehead getting banged up. Only then did he speak up calmly. Enough, stop with the talk. If you're guilty of neglecting farm duties, that's what you'll be punished for. If you made a false accusation, you'll take the blame instead. As for plotting anything shady, that's just made up. No need to bring it up again. I never neglected farm work. I stated this clearly and directly. Wang Li shot Erhu a look right away. Erhu mustered up his courage and yelled, I didn't. You told us to only farm half the land. I glanced at him sideways. I said it as calmly as talking about the weather. If we only worked half the land, yet we got a bigger harvest than before. No way, Erhu yelled back without thinking. The next second, I was already right in front of him. Slapped him right across the face. It was a loud, clear smack. What do you know? I snapped. I used special techniques. A legendary expert. That's how they farm too. As soon as I said that, all the officials were speechless. Even Li Xin looked equally amused and frustrated. A legendary master? Farming? That's not even a good lie. Pure nonsense. Wang Li sneered. I pointed straight at him. Word by word, I asked, Wang Li, dare to bet your life on it? 3 months from now, when the millet's harvested, you and I will each get 1,000 acres. If my harvest is bigger than yours, will you dare to kill yourself on the spot? Again betting your life? Wang Li was so mad he was grinding his teeth. You and Li Xin are total partners in crime. I stepped closer. My finger almost poked his nose. Dare or not? Why wouldn't I? He stomped and shouted, What if you lose? Same goes for me, I said. Inside, I was already celebrating. Idiot. My farming method is backed by centuries of science. How could I lose to you? Even if I really lost, I've got a lucky charm for backup. Ying Zheng got interested too. Only farm half the land, but still get higher yields. Can you really do that? Your Majesty, just assign someone trustworthy to keep watch, so nobody sneaky helps me cheat. Ying Zheng spoke up. You take charge of this. Wan stepped forward. Agreed right away. This old guy is the most fair-minded. Everyone respects him. All right, then let's see the results in 3 months. Ying Zheng made the final call. Guards, take Erhu away. Erhu finally breathed a sigh of relief, got ready to sneak off. He was daydreaming, planning to run back to Wang Jian and help him win the bet. Totally. Beat me. Not so fast, I shouted, Your Majesty. I want to report Erhu for robbery. Erhu immediately shivered in fear. I slowly said the other day at dinner. I gave everyone in the village some money. Right after I left. He stole everyone's money as soon as I was gone. That's what Wu Chankang said. Everyone in the village can vouch for it. Erhu's face went pale in an instant. He collapsed to the ground. I turned and gave him a slow, smug smile. You really thought I'd wait 10 years for payback? Revenge is best served right away. Not me, I'll get even on the spot.